Thanks, Paula. Good afternoon and welcome to my two guests in studio this afternoon, Fianna Fáil candidate Lisa Chambers and independent candidate Dermot McDonnell. You're both very welcome to our Ballyhona studios.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thanks very much.
Lisa, you entered the race late. Fianna Fáil and Mayo certainly appeared to be struggling to find any running mate for its sitting TD, Derek Leary. If you had announced sooner, do you think your chances might have been better, that the electorate would have known you for longer?
Teresa, it's difficult to see how it might have affected it. It's very difficult to predict this time round how it's actually going to go. People involved for many, many years are finding it difficult themselves even to see who's going to take the final few seats. Certainly running earlier may have affected it, but in what way I don't know. I am a new candidate, so yes, my profile would not be as large as some of the other candidates. However, my chances are good. The feedback I'm getting is very positive. I am a new candidate, I'm a young person, and I think that's what this country needs.
Well, when you say your chances are good, I mean, it's not good for any Fianna Fáil candidate out there in any part of the country.
Teresa, it is a difficult election for Fianna Fáil, no doubt, and we are down in the polls, and I appreciate that. However, the fact that I am coming into it, you know, as a new person and a new candidate and as a young person, I feel that my chances are good. And based on the feedback, based on the canvassing that I've done and going door to door and talking to people have been very positive, very good, and they're happy to see a new face.
OK, well, a new face is one, Lisa Chambers. Another new face is Dermot McDonnell. Dermot, you're running as an independent. You two opted to announce standing in the 20 election fairly late. Is that making your campaign more difficult?
I think what we said, I was asked by colleagues to stand, and I think there was an expectation that the election may have been a month later and would give people more time to prepare. I believe the state of the country is really what made me stand. I think it's the economy, stupid, as Bill Clinton used to say, and there are immediate implications in Mayo. We're going downhill. And I think there are things that we can do about it right off. Number one, our electricity industry is a racket. Electricity prices have doubled in the last 8 years. I think that's something that we can do something about immediately. And I think our natural resources in Mayo, I met, for example, Michael Armstrong, a vet from Kiltimagh yesterday, and Michael would have been sceptical about some of the things I've been saying in relation to our renewable resources. I think it's fair to say that Michael's a whole lot less sceptical now. You
nearly have to convince each person by person, because they don't know you, they don't know what you stand for.
This is very true, but I now find that all the candidates in front of the IFA the other night, on the radio the other day, all of the candidates are talking about renewable resources. I mean, some of the candidates, Enda Kenny and Ballina councillor Michelle Mulhern, have done tremendous work, and we've been informing these people, and I think they understand that. Beverly Flynn has been terrific help to me.
But obviously you think it takes a single independent voice to get the message out there.
I absolutely do think that we need reform in this country. The reason that we do not have any more grid here than we had 20 years ago when we got our first wind farm is because there's protection of the system that exists in Dublin. The leafy suburbs, a lot of people up there doing extremely well out of it, while Mayo is in pain, and things are going to get much, much worse. OK,
so you fairly outlined why you're going to stand and why you've put your name before the electorate on Friday next. Now, we have a number of questions from listeners, and people in rural areas are really feeling the increasing cost of petrol and diesel, and there's no adequate public transport system in this region, so they don't have any alternative. What do you propose to do for them, Lisa?
Well, Teresa, I mean, it is an issue, and Minister Eamon O'Keefe, actually, who was Minister for Rural Development, introduced the Rural Transport Service, and this was basically subsidised bus services for areas in rural areas where they weren't touched by the national bus service. He was the first minister to do this.
Yeah, but there isn't enough. I mean, the bottom line is there isn't a public transport system for a lot of people to go to work in County Mayo.
Public transport needs to be improved, no doubt, but from on the door to door in the likes of Ackland, Belmunnet, these are the rural areas that have been serviced by this new scheme, and they're very happy with it.
So do you think enough has been done? I mean, this questioner is obviously saying they can't cope with it. You know, it's costing them more, and it's costing them to get to work. They're not making any more money.
Transport is expensive, and I think we need to improve it and enhance it, and certainly make sure that there's more transport available. But certainly the scheme is positive, and the feedback that I'm getting on the ground is that they're very happy with it. It increases connectivity with the rest of the county. It allows people to go into town, do their daily business, get out and about, and it has been a positive scheme, and it was introduced by Fianna Fáil, and the first minister to do it was Eamon O'Keefe, and people are very happy with it. Now, I'm very much for improving the system, making sure that more transport is available to people, being Being from a rural place myself.
I know, but Fianna Fáil have also allowed the carbon tax to go on diesel, petrol, and that has significantly increased its price when people are already hard-pressed and the cost of fuel is rising quite apart from government.
Well, the carbon tax was something that was introduced, was a Greens policy, and it was introduced as part of the government. Now, the carbon tax put 6 cents a litre on green diesel, and I spoke to the farmers at the IFA meeting last week, and they are quite hard hit by it. I do realise that it's a rural tax essentially, and I'm not happy about it, and I'm very much for no increases in the carbon tax because I don't believe it's fair to the rural economies. We should have the same benefits as urban people, in the rural areas, and there shouldn't be extra taxes put on us because essentially green diesel is used for agricultural purposes, and that's really hitting the rural areas, and I'm proposing no increases in the carbon tax.
OK, Dermot, where would you stand on to tell that listener? What could you do for them?
Teresa, I have to be perfectly honest with the people of Mayo and say that in all likelihood there is very, very little that can be done for most people, and that things are going to get a lot worse.
Oh gosh, I don't think anyone wants to hear that, even if it is the truth.
Well, I think people have to face up to reality in this country. I think we have to face up to the difficulties we've gotten ourselves into. It's no point blaming the politicians, we put them in there. I do think that we should stop being hypnotised by the problems we have and look for solutions. I think that's the most important thing. I think the first thing that we should aim to do, and that I would do if I was elected to the Dáil, is to ensure that our electricity prices are halved within 2 years. Ever get out your electricity bill, have a look at it, see what you're paying. You're paying twice what you were in 2002.
How would you do that?
Well, I think costs immediately have to be reined in, largely in the semi-state sector. We've got the Chief Executive Officer of the ESB on $750,000, up 100,000 on the year before that, and up 200,000 on the year before that, when dividend payments to the state and electricity prices are rising. And I ask, what is the justification for this man's salary? The other semi-states, Bord Namona and Port Gosh, these people are swaggering in the same way, vast incomes, extremely well paid people, and there is no justification for it, absolutely none.
OK, now the present system of government has failed, it's what this listener says. Many people are better off staying at home than going out to work. How can that be justified? Lisa, that's at the end of a Fianna Fáil Green government.
Quite simply, Teresa, it cannot be justified. Essentially, the social welfare system is not working efficiently enough, and it's not working correctly for the people. And I'm supporting a complete overhaul of that system, and to look at it more closely, to see where savings can be made, and to make sure that it's more attractive for people to go out to work. Now, the minimum wage at the moment, we see that's been reduced. We're hoping people will go out to work because there'll be more jobs created. We also have
go out for a lot less. I mean, it's those at the bottom of the ladder that would be earning less that are most affected. This has already come in.
Absolutely, Teresa. In relation as well to social welfare, if you're under the age of 21 years of age, you only get €100 in social welfare. This is purposely done so that young people like myself are encouraged to go out to work, and it is a positive thing. I think as a young person, you'd much rather go out to work than take €100. So you're not being incentivised to stay at home, you're being incentivised to go out to work. And certainly, we need to make it more attractive for people to go to work. This is the bottom line. Okay. And the social welfare system does need overhauling, absolutely.
I'm going to move it on. Dermot, your reaction to that?
Well, to be honest,
staying at home.
I'm signing on myself, and I do not stay at home. I go out to work for my community, and I go out to work with people in North West Mayo who have been trying to get into the green energy business by putting up wind turbines. I think of Gus Ruddy, who's expected to wait 17 years from the time he originally gets his connection offer until the government, the state, is actually going to take his power. Michael Moyles and his family, people who've put in a tremendous effort. They're following the green agenda. I've got up off my backside.
But there are loads of people who still are not following the green agenda, not following any agenda, but fine, they're better off staying at home than getting up and getting out to work, with the cost of getting out to work, losing medical cards and all of the rest.
Well, I question the value of anybody in this county staying indoors. I say to people, get yourself out there, do some exercise. It's good for your mind, it's good for your body. Go out there and think, go to the library. Do not stay at home and hide yourself away. This is the state frightening us into bolting down our rabbit holes and staying there.
OK, I'll move on to the next question. The people of the county are fed up with politicians screaming off huge expenses, salaries and pensions for themselves from the pockets of the people, the taxpayer. You just want to join the gravy train. Is that it, Lisa?
Teresa, absolutely not. That is not what I'm here for. And I support a complete overhaul of pensions and salaries. I'm not happy about that either. I'm not happy the taxes are being taken to pay extortionate pensions and extortionate salaries, because that's what it is essentially.
Why are you with the Fianna Fáil party then, when that's what they've stood for all of this time, Lisa?
Teresa, it's not just the Fianna Fáil party that are benefiting from the pension and salaries, it's every TD in the Dáil. Now, I'm a new candidate and I'm here for the future. I'm a voice for the future, and I don't support that one bit.
Okay,
and it's something I'm committed to changing.
Okay, Dermot, in your response to that,
well,
you want to join the gravy train?
As I said, I'm signing on at the moment. If I do get elected, I can assure you that whatever expenses I get will go to the cooperative which I chair, which pursues renewable energy agenda for this county, so that we can do proper resource assessment by laser equipment that will tell us what the resource is worth. And all I really want is a train pass to get me to Dublin, an overnight stay in B&B, and I will fight for these people and the people of Mayo. And I'm not interested in money. If I had, I'd have stayed in London working in investment banks, and I'd be one of those people you'd be reading about getting these ridiculous bonuses.
Okay, time has run out. Two interesting candidates. Just give you 30 seconds each to say why should people put the number one beside you, Lisa, on Friday.
I'm asking people to put the number one beside me on Friday because I am a voice for the future. I am part of the generation that will shape the future of our economy and this country. I need a chance. I'm a young person. I have new ideas. I have fresh ideas. I don't support the way things are done. I don't support the old way of politics. Things need to change. I'm committed to that. And I'm asking people out there to vote for me, because a vote for Lisa Chambers is a vote for change and a vote for the future.
Okay, Dermot?
I want reform in this country. I want the racket that is the electricity sector and the department that runs it, the people who gave us Shell and the people who've given us 15 years of tribunals, kicked out on their backsides. I want renewable energy at the top of the agenda for Mayo. I want the manufacturers in here making the machines here, bringing the cost down to the floor and putting Mayo people to work. There's no end of demand for energy, let me tell you.
Okay, Dermot and Lisa, good luck to both of you, and those two names will be two of the 15 names that will be for you when you go in to vote on Friday, a choice of 15 candidates to choose 5 TDs for the county.